And in terms of addressing the question of how do you build a democracy movement, one of the things I think you have to look at is the current moment. Where are we right now? And I don't think it's any surprise or it's any sort of contentious matter to suggest that the level of faith of regular people in our federal and state governments is at an all-time low, at least in my lifetime. You look at the public opinion polling, if you want to trust it, it's 25% for Congress right now. And for good reason, right? For good reason. And so what you see happening is, as part of that sort of growing lack of faith, this crisis of confidence in our federal government in particular, in our presidency, in the Supreme Court of Bush v. Gore, right? In our Congress, people are taking matters into their own hands more and more, and in so many ways, and that's what we've been talking about this weekend. And they're trying new things. They're developing alternatives at the local level, whether it's bringing participatory budgeting to the US, the so-called beacon of democracy, having to borrow some light from Brazil and from other lands, right? Whether it's a question of reinvigorating municipalization, finding new ways to use city resources, public resources, to do the things that the federal and state government no longer do, to provide for the least among us, to establish a minimum wage that is closer to a living wage for working people, as the people of this city attempted to do and did several years back, to establish community-owned cable, community wireless, to bring power to the people through public power, and to invest resources in renewables. So many things people are attempting to do and are doing right now. And I think we need to recognize that that is, again, that's a response to the crisis in confidence in the federal and state governments. The second thing we see going on at the current moment is that those at the switch are not asleep, right? Those in Congress who take their orders from boardrooms in America and around the world are very aware that people at the local level are using local government in innovative ways to do things for ourselves so that we are not so dependent on the telecommunications giants, for example. And so Congress has been very effective at getting ahead of us. I remember about 2 years ago, we were having a conversation locally saying, gosh, it would be great if we could follow the lead of some of these very conservative cities, like Reedsburg, Wisconsin, that have developed community cable. And we could set up a telecommunications system in Madison. I talked to some experts. It would be great. It would cost $20 a household per year. Everybody would have free internet, free cable, and free long distance, right? Triple play. This is great. Only problem was it had already been preempted. It had already been preempted actually at the state level. And if anybody needs another reason to thank our dear Governor Jim Doyle, there's another reason to thank him and to have a conversation with Nelson Eisman in the back of the room there. So here's the thing. I mean, they're ahead of us. They're taking an aggressive posture in terms of shutting down every avenue that we attempt to open in terms of building local control and local power. And then the other thing that we see going on is we see a growing use of local government and of our local communities to resist the policies that are coming out of Washington, both nationally and internationally. And this has been such a positive development. A little bit of this went on in the 1960s, but not on the scale that it's happened in the last couple of years. As was shared with us, I believe yesterday by Karen Dolan, in the months before the invasion of Iraq, over 200 city councils passed resolutions condemning the imminent invasion, right? Over 200. You have the examples of Arcata, California, which has nullified provisions of the Patriot Act that the people there deemed unconstitutional. You have the example of 24 cities, the citizens of 24 cities and villages and towns in the state of Wisconsin, which on April 4th of this past year voted for immediate withdrawal from Iraq, immediate withdrawal, right? And so you have this kind of coordinated resistance that's developing, bubbling up all over the country, in which people are saying, okay, Congress is not accountable, the president is out of control, the Supreme Court, not even in the room, right? And they're using local government in innovative ways. So I wanted to start us there by grounding us in the current moment, and then to take a step back and look at history. And the reason why I want to do that is because in many ways our current situation, our current experience is not out of sort of the experience of the peoples of this continent. In fact, there have been struggles over local control and over local democracy that we are actually still gaining from today.